Welcome, Georgina. I wish you all the best and the floor is yours. Guys, enjoy.
Okay. So thank you, Alexander. So I will share my screen for the beginning. So just a second. So thank you guys for coming. Okay. Okay, do you all see my screen? The correct
Positive.
one, mirror board? Okay.
Yeah.
Just a second to do some setup. I want to see you guys. Okay. Sorry for this. Okay, so I will first show you what was the idea actually to talk about today. So, and what you're going to hear today is actually my practical experience. So what I learned from working with the clients and working on multiple projects. So first I will go on high level, what is dual track development by theory and how we can find it on the internet and everything. Then I will go to process which I created for my needs. And also I will map that with project management phases, which I think that they're really important to notice them at the early beginning. After that, we will go a little bit deeper in the dual track development, where I'll explain how actually product is delivered there. And then I will show you how I look at the system. So how I look at the product system and how I switch to the process system. So where that transition is. And also we'll cover like how to choose properly process and we'll give you some practical examples. So these here are examples when I'm also open like for you guys to jump in and ask questions while we're going to discuss this. So at any moment, if you have any questions, you can just give some signal or something and I will stop. So that's why I place you guys so I can see you at the beginning. So what is the key point of dual track development? As it's written here, like discovery informs delivery, delivery validates discovery. So what is dual track development? Dual track development, we can also find an term like dual track agile. This is an agile approach to software development, which allows us to balance the discovery of new ideas and delivery of working solutions. And we do it in iterative way. That's what is agile actually. We have two tracks in dual track development. As you can see here, we have discovery and we have delivery. As I said, discovery informs delivery, delivery validates discovery. You can find like these two approaches. One is like in line with where discovery is upfront of the delivery, and the second one is like a diamond represented. So discovery track is focused on exploration and gaining a deeper understanding of the project goals, user needs, and what can be a potential solution. So what is involved in the discovery on a high level? It's a user research, it's a market analysis. So with the discovery process, we are making sure that we are tracking clients' needs and also market needs. And the delivery track is actually responsible for implementing and delivering those ideas. So the insights gained from the discovery track informs the development decisions in the delivery track, and that enables the team to prioritize and to deliver the most valuable features. Okay. Okay, I heard some, okay, probably a mistake. Okay, and now if we look like these pictures closer, so just a second, I can't zoom. This can be problem of Miro sometimes, but okay. So as we can see here in the diamond approach, we have strategy approach, which I said also, I a couple of times said like this is market research, and then we have execution actually development part. So we have some problem. We are going to discover that problem. We are going to define that problem and to make problem definition. Then programmers are going to develop that problem and to deliver a solution. So what we say when we want to use dual track development and when it's a good approach to use it. So we are using it when we need a customer-centric approach, because dual track development is really focused on understanding of customers' needs and gaining feedback through the discovery track. It reduces development risk, which is really important. So we'll not throw away the time we need to develop something. We'll first investigate that, and then we will focus on development. It's agile, it's adaptive, so it responds to changes very fast. We are delivering an iterative approach, which is really important. It's faster time to market. Our clients can gain values faster because we are delivering iterations. So this part is actually agile. We're delivering iterations, small parts of the product, and we can get feedback on it. And actually, like where I like to use the dual track development most is when we are working, like when we have focus on MVP. So like when we discuss with the client and we figure out that client have a vision and we need to help him achieve this vision. So we will start with minimum viable product, then we will move to minimum allowable product, and then we'll come to final product. So in these approaches, when I know I will have these phases, I will actually choose a dual track development. So now let's see the process I created for my needs. So what we have here, so just a second, I can zoom. So what we have here. So this is how, for a first high level, how it's mapped with the project management phases. So what we have, first project management phase, it's initiation phase. So this is the moment when client approached to us and he told us like, I have a vision, I want to do something, and we need to figure out how are we going to do this. So these are first calls with the client. We are figuring out what are our target groups, what is need of the product, what is the product, who are our stakeholders, our business goals, costs, competitors, and other things. After that, this initiation phase, which I call like high discovery phase, we can create some user journeys on high level. So if someone is not familiar with what is user journey is how actually client imagine to use this application or some user which we identify in the system, how is that user going to use the application. After that, we are moving to planning session or planning phase. So the main purpose of the planning phase, it is to create a project plan, financial plan, or resource plan, or in one word, a roadmap. So output of my planning phase actually is a roadmap and its way of working and proposal for the customer. So what is difference here and in a traditional way of thinking and way of working? So dual track development, it's agile framework for the product. And what makes it different than a traditional approach? That planning phase is live phase at the agile approach or at the dual track development. Because in traditional way of working, when you figure out what client wants, you do some system requirements, you do a roadmap, everything, and you say this is fixed. Like I placed here iron triangle. I hope everybody knows what is it. So we have at the top, we have the scope, then we have the time and cost. Together, they are creating a quality. So this is something we agreed in the beginning. So we have what is the scope we want to deliver. Then we define, or we have also given input as the time when we need to deliver it. And we are calculating the costs. All three of them are making quality when they are fixed at the beginning. What happens, for example, if you approach traditionally to develop a product and you made this fixed iron triangle, and then client told you like, oh, you know what, I need to finish this earlier. Can you please finish it 2 weeks earlier? And you don't, for example, you don't look at this like a change request, you just take it. You will reduce the time and you will have the deformed triangle, which affects the scope, which affects the quality. So it affects the quality the most. So if you want to follow and to keep the good quality through whole product phases in traditional manner, each of these change you will figure out as a new change request, and you will have new iron triangle for each of these requests. But in agile methodology or dual track development, we are open for these changes because with transparent communication with the client involvement, we are like changing the scope of the roadmap, but not high level. Like as I said, most of the time when I heard like it's agile, adapted, like it's not everything agile. We cannot mix bad project planning with agile. We cannot say for bad project planning that this is agile. We need to have high level defined goals, even if we are approaching agile projects. We can make switches, we can move, we can investigate, but we need to know what is the vision, and we need to keep to the vision. Because imagine a client who have a vision at the beginning, and then we started working agile. He's changing his vision, he's changing everything. And like when you tell him like, this is not good, please, we need to focus. And he tell you like, but this is agile, adapt. What happens? We spend all of his money and we don't deliver value for him. So that's why I'm saying bad project management, bad approach to client vision is not the same as being agile. High level vision needs to be there. High level milestones needs to be there and goals. So after this planning phase, we are moving to dual track development. Dual track development actually covers two phases. These two phases are execution and monitoring. During the execution phase of the project, key tasks are actually team leadership, task creation, and everything else, which I will describe now with dual track development. So what is here purpose? We have discover, define, develop, deliver. So we had a high level roadmap. Now we are taking it into small pieces. And each of these pieces we are going to discover. Business analyst will investigate. I'll talk later about roles. So someone will going to investigate it, to define it, then to developers will deliver it and will develop it, and we will have delivered value for the client. So this is also covering the execution phase when we are also doing client management, effective communication, everything else. And then like during the monitoring phase of the project, what are the tasks? Key tasks are actually tracking progress, evaluating performances, identifying like are there any problems, any dependencies, and other types. So this is high level dual track development. This is important. We are doing discover, define, develop, and deliver, and small pieces of a big picture. After that is going successful delivery and maintenance support. Here I will map with project closing. During the closing phase, you all know we are learning like what are best practices, like we are finalizing everything, conducting a product review, making all the documentation needed for the client to maintain, to maybe user manuals and other things. So this involves the closing phase. Okay. So this is high level dual track development. Now we will go in a deeper level. So I endorse this sentences like discovery, force delivery, delivery validates discovery. So I was actually working by dual track development and I created this process, which I'm going to show you. And I didn't even know that this is dual track development. So my coworker just came to me one day after her meetup. She told me, you know how we were working? Like this is dual track development. We use it all the time. So then I gave a name to the phase, how I worked. Okay, so I will skip these two phases, which I already covered, discovery and planning phase. So imagine like this. So we had a client accept our proposal, and we are we need to start with the project. How to start? For example, I don't know how to start with the project. We have some high level requirements, but the start is always really hard. You need to organize a start. You need to make a template for the start, just to not have people lost on the beginning, because then you have delays at the beginning. So we are starting with iteration 0. Each project starts with iteration 0. What is iteration 0? So discover, define, then develop, deliver. In this first iteration, on iteration 0, I need for business analyst and product owner to create first features, first user stories, to discover them, to make sure that we are going to work on right piece of functionality. So product owner and business analyst are focused in the first iteration to discover what should we do in the next iteration. Also, business analyst will define this with the development team. So we have discover part, which is oriented business to business side, and then we have define part, which is oriented to development side with programmers. And what are programmers working during this time? They're actually onboarding and they're doing project setup, making credentials and everything. And they are involved in the define sessions with the business analyst. So onboarding, I mentioned team superpowers. So most of the time working with clients, working with teams, I really often heard like teams are not proactive, or some people are not proactive on the team, and this kind of thing. So proactive. It's like a big word in my head. And we started thinking like, why, like over the projects we started with this like actually we did a great project with this approach. People was so committed. They were working like overtime. They really cared about the product, and it was like awesome experience with them. And we figure out what was the difference. They were aware what is vision of the product and what is the goal of the product. They were aware of the client vision. So we say, okay, it's not just domain knowledge. Like, what is important in onboarding? When we do onboarding, we'll have onboarding session for specific technologies we are going to use. Are there any technical decisions that teams need to be aware at the beginning? Domain knowledge, okay, you should know. If you're going to do insurance company, you should know, but you shouldn't know whole insurance company. You should only gain knowledge related to that product we are going to develop. Then vision. So that vision at the beginning, which we defined, initiation phase and planning phase, this must be given to the team in order to gain the best from the team. So here, like I have example, like if you look at football players, so they're playing a game with their best. When they know what will they get as a result, they will get a financial reward, they will get popularity, they will give their best. They will be the best on the field. That's what you need with programmers. They need to realize what they are building. What is the need of that? What will they give to that company, to organization? What will they give to the people around the product who is going to use, to users that are going to use that product? So when you have this vision aligned with the whole team, you will have the best value of the team, the best productivity. Actually, superpower for me, it's productivity. Okay, so when we finish this first iteration or iteration zero, output from this iteration is, of course, everything set up from the programmers and first user stories on features which are ready to be developed. Then we are moving to first iteration. So this was iteration zero, we are moving to first iteration. In first iteration, developers are working on those features which we previously defined. And business analysts are preparing for the next iteration. So business analyst is preparing everything for the next iteration. They are again having discovery with the product owner. So let's talk about that a little bit. What is product owner role? Product owner, or most often these are the clients actually, they have the vision. They know where they want to go. They know what strategy they want to use. They know what market they want to win. What is business analyst? Business analyst is helping product owner to achieve these goals in little steps and making like a bigger picture of this and these little steps and making sure that we are in the right way, that we are making right decisions. So he's making sure that he's giving right inputs to the programmers. So for me, business analyst is a really, really important role in all of this. So he is the relationship between product owner and his vision and between the programmers. And I need to give here an example. So actually in my previous project, I was working with a product owner who has a vision. That was an awesome man, but he was driven by the vision. He always come and say, let's do this. But problem is that energy, when you put it on the team, you get stress because teams, they think when they get information, they think, I need to do it right now. And that's how we build stress to them. And what is business analyst doing here? That vision from the product owner and that his energy and everything related to the product and himself, business analyst is making a nice road to the developers in a manner the developers can accept that and in a planned way. So that's why I think like business analyst is really, really important role here and in all other projects. Or any approach we use, I really say special words for business analysts as a important role. And okay, after the team of programmers, so develop what they need to develop, they are delivering it and they are getting feedback. So they are doing demo and they're getting feedback from the client. So client feedback can affect next iterations, so can affect next discovery sessions and should also affect in a negative or in a positive way. In this way, we are validating what we discovered. So that's why when I said this, why I like this word, like discovery informs delivery, but delivery validates discovery. So this is really important, not cut this line when we develop something. We need to gain this feedback again to discovery process. Okay, so I mentioned iterations and I figure out when I'm talking about this and explaining this, I figure out that people sometimes cannot track me. So that's why I also represented this story like this. So we are having iteration 0, 1, 2, and this should be 3. Okay, here is a mistake. And iteration 0, delivery team is setting up everything, and discovery team is preparing user stories, for example, for the next iteration. So in iteration 1, delivery team have inputs. Inputs are prepared, user stories, and refined. And discovery team is in parallel are preparing user stories and everything for the next iteration. Delivery team is giving output or value, which should serve as an input for the discovery team. So you see how they're all connected. And we are going like this in iteration, iteration, iteration. Okay. So I wanted to give one analogy also with the product owner and business analyst. So for example, imagine like how I said, like I really endorse product owners because of their vision and everything. So imagine product owner coming to you and say to programmers, and he said like, I want a glass. And he didn't define what kind of glass or anything. Programmers start working, everybody start working something else. But when a business analyst is here, he will ask him, okay, what type of glass? For what are you going to use this glass? So all of you probably imagine one glass. You will tell me later what glass you imagine. For example, when I heard this analogy, I first imagined like a plastic glass, this like really thin plastic. And then my coworker said, like, now imagine placing a hot water inside it. And I said, okay, this plastic glass is not for the hot water. So that's what business analysts make the difference. He will investigate further for what product owner wants to use that glass. So we make sure that programmers will not create a plastic glass and lose time, or they will create like what is needed actually. Maybe I need a cup for the tea. So this is point actually for the product owners, and I wanted to say this analogy for product owners or business analysts, how actually I'm seeing them. And as you can see here, I'm using word iteration because I noticed when I say sprint, people are actually taking 2 weeks. So I noticed that a lot of time when I say sprint, 2 weeks, sprint, 2 weeks, like no. Iteration, like I really like when I was listening to Yasmina, there's on YouTube some meetup from her, and she said like she opened my eyes then because I was first at the beginning of my career Scrum oriented until I learned a lot other processes and everything. And she said like, what is iteration? Iteration is a time slot for which you can deliver peace to the team and to the product. So actually, iteration is a time slot which you can deliver a piece to the project, to the product, and then you will align the team to fit that. So this is really important because of that, yes, I stopped using word sprint because I need to think, I need to figure out how dynamic my product is to fit the iteration, not just to say 2 weeks. Okay. So let's move on. So now I wanted to say how I look at the system, actually like this. I'm mentioning inputs, outputs. Inputs, good requirements to give you a value at the output. So this analogy is like actually like a black box testing. I don't know if you guys heard about, because I work as a programmer. So for me, like black box testing and white box testing was really something awesome, and I learned because it was also high level knowledge which you can use everywhere in analogy. So let's see, black box testing is how we treat the software as a black box. So we are looking at the product as black box. I don't care what happens inside. I only care what I give as an input and what I want as an output. So I'm giving inputs and I'm expecting certain outputs. This is like what I said now. I'm giving inputs and I'm expecting value at the end. I give good requirements, I give you user stories of features, and I'm expecting developers to develop what I want at the end. So this is high level. This is when I say like dual track development is a product framework. It's a high level framework. Then if I want to think how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to implement process, how the team is going to do it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this black box and I will switch to the white box testing, and I will peek inside what's happening. So I want to what we say in white box testing. I open up the box and here we set the process. So I give the input, I set the process and I'm checking, is this process giving me correct outputs? So this is the difference. So black box, I'm looking product framework. White box, I want to peek inside to make process to be sure that I'm going to have also great output at the end. So now if I mix these tools, how to choose actually a good process, a good framework for the teams and project. I'm looking two things, product and its dynamic, and also system architecture or team organization. And what am I doing? I'm placing framework as a model to fit these two. I'm not orienting, so this is like, I notice a lot of time people just set up a process like Scrum or Kanban or whatever, but they didn't identify first what type of the product is, how dynamic product is at this moment. Like we have different dynamic, the product in its life cycle. For example, when we start, maybe we'll not have that clear requirements. We need to prepare a lot of things, maybe to work as a Kanban or Scrumban in the beginning. Then at the middle of the product life cycle, we will have some a longer peaceful iteration. We can say, okay, let's now use Scrum. We can afford peace to the team and to the project for a week or 2 weeks, doesn't matter. So this is important. I need to track product dynamic all the time, and I need to fit the framework to its dynamic. And also I need to think about system architecture and team organization. When I say team organization, I think our teams like product oriented, component oriented, feature oriented, aligned on microservices or something. So there are multiple things. So why I'm talking all of this, my idea of today's meetup, like my head is like boom when I start talking about these topics. So my idea today is to give you topics to think about. So to make a difference, to not just think on the lower level on Scrum or something, but let's think about everything. Let's think about product phases, like think about project phases, which we talked. Let's think about system architecture. You don't need to know how to write system architecture, how to make it, but you should be able to come to your system architecture guy and to tell him, can you please draw me how you oriented everything and to explain me what is the purpose? It will bring a lot of benefits for you if you understand this, because then you will know what is also communication flow. If you take system architecture and, for example, take your projects, if you have problems and processes right now, and ask someone to draw you system architecture and communication flow. Communication flow between the teams is communication flow at the system architecture. It's the same, it's one-on-one. This is how I map the process. And this is how I map, like when I have problems, I can identify where is the problem actually. This is what Scrum, Nexus, Safe, everything of that, it's communication flow, which follows also architecture of the system. So this is my approach to define a process. And which I said, it's really important, validate and adapt. You cannot use, like it's a really rare situation where you can use one framework from the beginning to the end of the project. You need to validate, you need to adapt, you need to be agile. Don't be just a Scrum Master, be Agile Master. I always says, like to my coworker, she has now my ex-product owner, which is really dynamic. So she took over that project for me. And I think she's here right now on the meeting. And I told to her, like, you are organizational manager now. You're not a Scrum Master. So you need to think about organization, about processes and everything. You need to think high level and not get stressed, because this is where fun is at our work. To investigate, to research, think, to brainstorm. You have opportunity to brainstorm with all of these things. And this is something which makes my day really nice of the work and really funny, and it should make to everybody. If you see that something is not fit, Scrum is not fit, give up, leave Scrum, brainstorm, think, make system architecture, sit with programmers, think about what you can do better and do better. This is approach with Agile, adapt and be Agile. This is what I said also, Alexandra, about mindset. You need to switch in that mindset to be able to adapt. And to be able to do that, you need to learn and you need to investigate. You need to know a little bit of all the frameworks just to figure out where you can take what. Okay, I mentioned system architecture. So now I'm going to give you an example of one product or one project. So for example, I have a client. So first to explain you what is actually microservices. So we can imagine like microservices, like one product which backend of the product which is serving that product. So how actually we started using microservices? Imagine these three boxes were one box, huge box. And you have a lot of lost connections there. We don't know where communications are going, who is communicating what. And then they decide to switch to microservices. Microservices are independent components which communicate between them. So they are like you can pair also them with the teams. You want independent team, cross-functional team, but also to be able to communicate with other teams when it's needed. This is what the microservices are. So they are actually organized around business capabilities, and they should be owned by a small team. Okay. And I just wanted to explain, like, this is one system architecture. So this is something that you should gain from input. So imagine now you come to your system architecture, your programmers, you said, like, please tell me how this looks like, how looks system architecture. So this is, for example, for the complex products. For smaller products, you won't have one service to serve all the product, and this is it. So this is an example of one big product, which we decide to have 3 different services. Okay. So we have 3 microservices here. They're communicating over some major service bus. And we now see, okay, if I have 3 microservices, I can have 3 teams. And then client comes to you and says, I don't want to hire 3 teams. It's too much money. And I need to approach this agile. I need to first deliver MVP, for example, first service, then to deliver most lovable service product to deliver, for example, a second microservice, and then to deliver final product with whole 3 microservices. And you can say, okay, so let's organize them with one team. So I have 2 examples here with one team and with 3 teams. I use this approach because this is your check development. You're not delivering the whole product at one moment. You want to first deliver something smaller so you can test it and see you are going in the good direction, then you will expand. But you can also work with 3 teams on a bigger level. So we had both situations, and they're all really, really adaptable with your check development. Okay, so brainstorm before choosing the framework. I know I have 3 microservices. For MVP, I want to deliver 1. I only have 1 team. So this orange is represented by microservice. Then I have microservice-oriented team. Why is this good? I'm having team-oriented on one product, on one knowledge. This team is cross-functional. They're able to give their best value. This is what I told you, like at the beginning. We're having a cross-functional team, which are they're doing on one product, and they are able to have the wider picture of the product and to give the best. Okay, what are the roles here? I have here some product owner who have a vision, he knows what he wants to build. I have a team, and I have a business analyst. So discover business analyst goes to product owner. They are talking, they're analyzing what they're going to do and everything. They're setting where the vision is, what we want to achieve and other things. And then he comes back to, or she comes back to a team of programmers, and they're through refinement meetings defining what should be done. After then, that team of programmers is working with that feature and delivering it. So a defined session, a defined part roles are business analyst and the team who is actually involved. And what are actually that sessions? It can be refinement sessions and planning sessions to deliver it. Business analyst, the product owner, we can always bring a designer to them. We can bring a QA to them to make a more value, like Three Amigos approach, make more value from the product. They're, for example, having pre-refinement meetings, sync meetings, product discovery meetings. We can call that whatever we want. We have demo meetings. So the demo meetings, all stakeholders should be included. And how team is delivering the value? He's actually respecting dual track development. He's doing discover part with the product owner, define part with the team. I'm talking about business analysts. So business analyst, product owner doing discovery part, then they're doing define part with team. Team is developing something and we are delivering, taking input and putting it in the discovering and the teaming. So this is like your track development itself. Whatever we want to use, we can use Scrum, Kanban, we can use combination of those tools. We can then implement daily meetings, retro meetings. So these are just meetings, so they are not that important. We should identify how often teams should synchronize. For example, when you are creating a meeting and you have like, most of the time, like for example, what can actually here be a problem? Business analysts can get overoccupied with joining the meeting. So we need to actually make, like, if you see like business analysts, they're joining too much meetings, you need to make a structure. Like, okay, you as a Scrum Master need to say, this meeting is for the business analyst. Value of this meeting is to do that, that, and that. This meeting should be handled once per week or two times per week, doesn't matter. You need to define dynamic of the product. You see, everything is related to dynamic of the product. And if you notice, like, you're wasting time on meetings, you need to make a structure of them. You need to make what are clear inputs to the meeting and what are clear outputs, and who are responsible roles on the meetings. Okay, so this was just example, because I often heard, like, for example, for the product owner, that he's involved in the daily meetings, so he spent his time there. I don't want my product owner to be in daily meetings. I want my product owner to focus on a product vision and to do his work. So I also had this work, and I said, okay, you want to synchronize. Our board is on time. Check the board and you will see the statuses. And also for each product where you're working, if you open the board, you should be able to see how your team is standing, how your process is standing. This is also one of the way which I use to identify the problems on the projects. I just open the board and I can see what's wrong. For example, I saw, like, on clients is forcing like matrix representation of the data. I see their problem. You don't need matrix representation of the teams. You have areas, you can use areas. So these are the things I identify. I check the product board, I check their product boards, backlogs, and everything. Okay, so this was an example for one team. So on one team level, you can use Scrum, Kanban, or a combination of it. It shouldn't be a big problem to set the dual track development here. You have one team, it's easier to get them focused. But what if client decides to use 3 teams and to have 3 teams related to product? Okay. Oh, okay, I forgot to move these 3 guys. Okay. So we have 3 teams, and each of these teams have its product owner, and they have its business analyst, and they have one product owner. So what is this bubble? This bubble I use here in Nexus. I endorse Nexus. I really like Nexus. So we'll say this is integration team like in Nexus. It's called Scrum. And I will say here, okay, here's product owner. How they're going to do discovery part, but on high level. So I'm not taking care just of discovery part of one team. I'm taking care of discovery part of all teams, all 3 teams. I want to make sure in this direction with the integration team that all 3 teams are aligned, and we all know, like, communication flow between them. We all know what changes will be done on the high level that can affect all the 3 teams. So these things are done with strong API contracts. So now I am not sure I'm using terms that you're all aware, but these contracts will actually define how this microservice is going to communicate, like, on a higher level. So you have 3 parts, but you also have some contracts, how they're communicating and everything. So I want all of this to be defined in integration team. So I will say, here is product owner. He's having a vision of whole product. Then on lower level, investigation and deeper discovery will help him business analyst. And I will place here 3 business analysts representing each of these teams. Okay, how can I bring more value to this integration team? I will place here also designer. Here is one designer. What I'm also going to do to bring more value, maybe I will place a QA here. I need someone to make sure that we are validating and that we are going in the right direction related to acceptance criteria, related to definition of done and everything. Okay, who I'm going else to involve here? I can involve here representative of development team. I have then full value on integration team. Integration team should be set up in that way to bring the biggest value to the product. So How then I am reaching these ideas from integration team, like this is three amigos approach, which I use. We'll take representatives, from other teams and other business domains in order to gain the biggest value to the product. So now I'm moving to the teams. Okay, I am bringing back. So they did the discovery part. Again, let's move to the object development. I'm bringing back to the team. Let's do define part. Okay, they are doing true refinement sessions. Each of them is doing, they're all having separate refinement sessions then, and they are doing like creating user stories, defining them or one feature and everything. Then the team is doing delivery and the development and then delivery. Demo can be common on over an integration level. It can be also separated on a team level. That's something that we should figure out through brainstorming. How often my client is here, how he has time, how much time he has, and everything. I will take in concern before organizing meetings. What my client wants. Does he want demo? If he don't want demo, I will think another way how to include him in the product, how to make sure that he see the value or something. So these are the things we need to brainstorm and we need to figure out. Okay, so main approach here actually is to keep business analyst here focused and to make sure that he understands its value. So this is from that, and I'll summarize now everything. So why dual track development? I think that all you are clear now why dual track development. So we need to discover if we don't have a clear requirements. If we see that there is a need to define scope during the development, we'll then attract dual track development and we will say we are working agile. So this is a process which follows the development of our product. We'll make sure that our client has the most valuable product at the end. So this is why dual track development. When to choose framework? Choose framework at the beginning. When you do planning, choose framework, but validate that through your life cycle of the product. At any moment you see something is wrong, validate. You see the team is not delivering what they should deliver, validate. Maybe the problem is in process. Validate and check the team dynamic, check product dynamic. Where are team superpowers here? Actually, team superpowers are on that onboarding. If I want my people to give the best, like they are playing the best game in the history of football, I want them to know why they're fighting, why they're playing the game. They need to understand the vision, they need to understand the goals and everything. I will push them through that vision. Also, like to achieve team superpowers, don't tease the team with the meetings. Listen to the team. You need to listen to those people. I was a programmer. You need to be listened. Like people, like when you want to do change, just talk with the people and listen to them. They will give you the best inputs, what you should change. Good relationship with the client is actually through our communication with him. We need to be transparent. If you see the problem is the project or the product is in problem, tell him, listen, people are not proactive, people are not focused. Be open to him, whatever the problem is, you need to be open to him. Sometimes you will need to go step back, but you need to be open with the client and to set expectations. Like everything is in expectations and setting expectations. Set expectations to your client. Listen also to your client what he or she wants to say. So when I'm to expectations, I wanted also to say this example before I close the story. So I had problem and I talk with my teams and everything, and they had product owner who changed requirements really fast. And he wanted like always some bugs, something, solve me this fast, as soon as possible. You heard this sentences like as soon as possible. And I hear it, I'm not good. So we had this moment as soon as possible. And I asked the team, okay, but where is the problem? And they told me like, but sprint is 2 weeks. We don't want to be interrupted. So we are moving to the problem. Sprint is 2 weeks. So that I said, okay, if sprint is 3 days, will that be also a problem? They said like, well, no, okay. So expectations for team is expected and set expectations that sprint is 2 weeks and they don't want to be touched 2 weeks. And then they have all the rights for that. That's why I'm saying, investigate the process, set expectations. Okay, so I finished with this. We can move to the questions or anything you guys want to discuss. I hope you like this. So any reaction, please? I can sing.
Don't be so shy, guys.
Yeah.
Don't be so shy. There are no shy people right now
Yeah.
here. So yeah, I see a couple of applauses.
Thank
That's
you.
encouraging, I would say like that. So guys, if you have any questions, please, you can ask Georgina to clarify something or to explain you something, or if you want to share your experiences, or if you want to say something interesting that might be supportive to this topic, please do so.
Anything? Like one more time, like brainstorm. Every time you have a problem, like I also want to like now, I'm not sure, are you recording, Alexander? But this can bring a value to people. You have a problem on your project, draw everything. So I use Miro a lot and I draw my teams and then I'm drawing a problem and I want to figure out where is the problem. Also with other people, like I'm working as engineering lead. So with my people, with I'm working, I tell them like, okay, please draw me or explain me, I ask them questions. How many teams? What is this team? Are there components? Are there features? So I'm asking all these questions to figure out what is the problem and where is the problem. And most of the time problem is at the product dynamic. So, but investigate, you need to switch in that mode, draw things, paint, like use Miro. It's really, really nice approach and can help you a lot to brainstorm. And feel free to ask me questions now.
Yeah, brainstorming. It's
Yes.
really, really, really various topic. So guys, are there any questions? Looking forward to seeing it, but okay, if nobody has question, then I would like to ask you something, Georgina, if you don't mind. So when we speak about possible frameworks, you've been speaking about that. Which one would be the most suitable one if you had to choose one between all of those frameworks you offered to us? So yeah, we want to know which one is the best one, or the checked one, if I can say like that.
I said there is no the best one. So you can you use the best from them. So I want to work like a Scrum mix of Scrum and Kanban.
I tried to get that information from you and I didn't succeed.
Yes, no, I will never say there is the best framework. No, like mix them. I also use like how I do. I see what roles I have. Like if you look Nexus, these representatives are not business analysts, they're team leads. Like they're representative of the team. But how I did mix of less than Nexus. And I said, I will use business analysts here responsible for the business side of the product for that team. And I will put them in the integration team. Because I see how the track development on one team is working good if business analyst is giving inputs, correct inputs. So this is how I scaled that. So, but I brainstormed that. I didn't just, if I said like, let's just use Nexus, I will try to fit something which cannot be fit to that product and the roles which I have. So I have roles and I have product and I need to make everything to fit. So that's why I never said like, let's work this way, like a specific framework which exists. I always like do small brainstorming. I'll see which roles I have. So with what I'm having to deal. And then I see what type is this product and then you decide.
So the key fact of the whole topic, or the key fact, if we want to make sure that everything be just as we expect to be, is brainstorming. So
Yes.
I should conclude that everything starts and everything finishes with brainstorming.
Yes,
if
but
I'm right.
Yes, but you need to have knowledge to do brainstorming.
Of course.
Yes,
So
that's
that's the
yeah.
catchy stuff.
Yes,
Yeah, that's the catchy stuff. I know that. Yeah.
You cannot know just Scrum and expect to deliver something new. You need to know what are the key values of Scrum, what are key values of Kanban, and then you will make some mix. You will figure out something even different for your team, but you need to know what brings value and then to implement that value in your framework. If you think each of these frameworks are created for one product because it was needed in that moment, you're also creating, each time you're doing brainstorming, you're creating a new framework. You're creating something that fits your product. And then, like if you have multiple products in one moment, you will be able to recognize, for this, I already had this type of the product, and I use this type of the framework which I mixed. I can use it again, it's proven good. So you're creating new frameworks all the time, but you need to know, of course, you need to know first that flat knowledge, which is the basic of everything. You need to be aware of all the frameworks which exist on the market.
Yeah, I agree. I totally understand. Yeah. Great. Great to know. Okay, guys, if you have any question, now is last chance for you to ask Georgina anything. If you maybe don't have any question, be free to contact Georgina if you like, via LinkedIn or any other network. So I'm going to give you one last try to ask any question. And if you don't have, I will be free to close the session and wish you a great weekend in the beginning of an August. So guys, yeah, there is a lot of thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, if there is no any questions, so thank you very much comes from my mouth on behalf of Agile Humans. Georgina, it was beautiful session, very educational session, if I can say like that. So if I figure some new questions, I'm going to ask you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being our guest. And I do hope that we are going to see you at least one more time.
Yes.
Please spend a great weekend, spend a great holiday, because I know that you are expecting a great holiday. And guys, see you next month, the first Thursday of next month, where we are going to talk about other topics. And I do hope that I'm going to see you in a greater number because we are unfortunately finish our summer next month. So guys, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for being there. Georgina, one more time, thank you very much. And on behalf of Agile Humans, we are sending you a great heart. So guys, thank you so much. Enjoy.
Bye.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye.
It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.